All right, so today we're going to be creating a new article using Cuppa AI to generate content. We have Charles Float in the building,
Hey guys.
and we're going to be showing you step by step how to create and rank content using a live case study today. So let's get into it. Share my screen and we'll go straight into Cuppa.
Yep, sounds good. Might as well jump straight in things.
All right. So we have the previous save presets for creating content on Cuppa right here. This is one that we actually created on our live stream last time. Is that the one that you want to stick with, or should we mix it up today?
Yeah, I think we just stick with the same preset as last one, just so that it makes it easier, so that everybody who kind of followed the last stream or anybody who's watching this video can easily just go back to that stream and kind of get the gist of how everything works with this tool first up straight away
Yeah,
for
it
us as
makes
well.
sense. And if anyone needs a preset, we'll just give a link to it at the end of the video anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Okay,
All right.
so yeah, so if we go to knowledge, currently in my presets first. So I believe this article that we're going to do today is the best SEO speakers article. So we're basically going to try and generate a better piece of content than we did originally out the box. Obviously, a lot of people last time, I think, said, the content wasn't that great from the example article that we gave, but well, that was because we didn't actually do any of the settings and it wasn't an example article in that video that we generated. So it was just a random example that I think you'd like thrown in with some keywords or something. So for this example, in your presets, what you can do is you can create knowledge bases. So it's very similar to if you've used ChatGPT, you can create a knowledge base where you can input additional information just to either reinforce the training data that it already has. Because a lot of the time, yes, you might already have the specific piece of information that you want it to talk about or reference and things like that in its training data, but it might have got it might either have a very significant a very significant number of other amount of training data which makes it talk about something a slightly different narrative, or it doesn't have enough of the specific training data that it needs to reinforce it enough to continuously talk about it. So we're going to create a new piece of knowledge today. So what I want us to do is basically come up with the outline for this article in our heads first, right? So we know that we're going to create an article about best SEO speakers. So for this specific one, we're probably going to need to have several SEO speakers in mind that we want to include in our list, right? And for that, we're going to create some new knowledge about said speakers so that it starts feeding that knowledge into those speakers. So for this list, I think we're going to come up with yourself, myself, Kazra Dash, maybe somebody like Lily Ray, maybe like Marie Haynes, maybe James Dooley, maybe a couple other people. And what I like to do, and of course, what you ideally want to do is have all of this knowledge kind of available and have some like data and statistics available, and just kind of fill this out manually, because that's when you're going to get the best results, right? However, what you can do is you can use Perplexity. So if we go to perplexity.ai, right? Currently, I believe you get 5 free pro tokens per day. So you see that little pro notch in the right corner? Yep, you get 5 per day, basically. So 5 pro options per day. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask Perplexity to research our speakers for us. So we don't just want some highlight information. We also want a bit of a bio for each speaker. So we're going to say we are creating an article about the best SEO speakers. Give us a list of SEO speakers, including the speakers that we want to include, which would be maybe like I said, yourself, myself, Lily Ray, James Dooley, people like that. And give us a bio, or give us a small biography about each person. And you can even make sure it's factual. You can do additional things like that. You can ask it to fact check things. You can do all sorts of things with Pro from Perplexity. It's really quite interesting. Perfect. There we go. And then it will go off and it'll do it. And it's normally very fast, so it's pretty quick about how it does this, right? And then in the answer there at the bottom, it comes up straight away with a pretty impressive man there with a current job and previous jobs straight up there. So you'll see straight away that it's given us the best SEO speakers, but then it's given us a list with biographical information. Now that biographical information is very, very important because that's going to be the basis for our knowledge base, right? Now, obviously, like I was saying, what we want to try and ideally do is manually edit this stuff, or ideally manually create it in the first place, where we're feeding the AI the specific knowledge and information that we want it to show in our article. But for this example, it's a really easy and simple process to just copy Perplexity's research. So you see that little copy button at the bottom there? We can just go and copy that straight across and put that into our research. So we can create a new research panel. The description, put in the text. And also bear in mind that what you can do is you can actually convert this into a text file or a PDF file, and you can upload it as well. So you can remove the citations at the bottom. So if you just go to the, just go to the bottom, you can just go and remove all those citations just to make it a bit easier. Because we don't really care about, obviously, that kind of stuff. And then that's great. We've got all this stuff that we need to straight in there. And then we can click save. Now we can go and create our content. So it's basically ready to go. So we can go to create content, single generation. And obviously, dependent on what types of articles you want to do, you might want to go and start bulk generating content because it might be dependent on the types of articles you're doing. If you're doing best SEO speakers, it might be that you want to do best SEO speakers for each country. So you do best SEO speakers for the UK, for the US, for Canada, for France, for Australia, right? Or you might want to do best SEO speakers for a specific conference. So you might want to do best SEO speakers at Brighton SEO or at Cuppa AI SEO or something like that. So that's what you could use the bulk generation tool for. But for this specific one, we're going to just do new article with a single article generation. And again, we could choose to re-optimize the existing article that we already have. But because we want to try and create a new article with so much additional research and knowledge and things, we're just going to create the new article. So the target keyword, I think, is best SEO speakers. For this specific one. And we can use US, English, perfect. And it will go off and it will fetch the search for us. It will get around the top 20 results. It will pull all of their content into the research panel for us, as well as the additional research from our knowledge base. So we kind of get a massive pool of information that's a lot more detailed than what's within the training data, or at least what's within that kind of accessible layer of training data. Because you have to bear in mind that one instance inside of the training data normally isn't enough, right? So you have to have like recurring instances for it to actually spit out what you want it to spit out a lot of the time. And the easiest way to do that is just to create the instance for it, right? So we can go to presets and just apply the preset here, which is default, and then just go to example preset, and that should apply all the presets for us. I would change type of article to listicle for this specific one, because again, we're going to be doing a list type of article. And then we can go up to knowledge base, and then we can just select the knowledge that we just create, so best SEO speakers, and then we can go to advanced options quickly. And in our content prompt, what we did in the end of the prompt for the extra content prompt, we asked it to prioritize our data. So basically reinforce prioritization using the data that I provided. So what in that specific prompt, it says don't prioritize the data you've been trained on, but we want it to basically we remove reinforce and we remove the kind of brackets and just make it say prioritize using the data that I provided over prioritizing the data that you've been trained on. So we don't want it to don't prioritize at all the data that you've been trained on, but we just want it to prioritize the data over the data that it's been trained on, right?
So should we change that now, or that's good to go? Yeah.
No, change that now. So if we just quickly change that a little bit now. So we just put, exactly, prioritize the data. Oh, sorry. So it needs to prioritize the data that we've input over the data that you've been trained on. Yeah.
Okay.
And then depending on how big we want the article, we could put in, if you scroll down a little bit, it will say H2 and H3s. And we can basically ideally put in, 200 for H2s and maybe 150 or 200 or whatever for H3s. It would be dependent on how big you want the article, right? And now for this specific article, I think if we go back up to basic options, we're going to generate, instead of generating an outline, so if we just go down, you can use that green magic button normally to generate an outline. I think we can generate an outline for this example. So if you just click that green magic button there, it will automatically, no, not that one.
This one?
That one. Yep, perfect. Yep. It will automatically generate an outline for us. But obviously, what we want to do is, in this specific example, because we have all the data and the research and analysis, we want to create the outline for us, right? But we can have a look at what it created. So it's not bad, it's not terrible, right? But we don't want this. But what we can do is, in some cases, we can use an automated outline. But because we want to do a specific researched article where we know the people that we want to include, we know that kind of stuff, we don't want this. We can just click delete all items, which is that red button there. And then on the right hand side, you can just go and click best SEO speakers ranked. Yep, just click the plus button. And then we can maybe click plus on like Cyrus Shepherd, Marie Haynes, Aleda Solis, maybe. And then we can just type in to input the speakers that we just researched. So we want to put in Kazra, you, me, Dooley, a couple other people. And then we just change those to H3s. And then you'll also notice that in between the icons for the delete and the little edit icon in the outline, yep, you'll add research data. So you can actually go and add even more research data than you already have to really, really go ultra deep on some of these things, right? So if you're trying to cover, potentially people that haven't had much public exposure, or you're potentially covering some people that are new to the public eye or things like that, some new kind of topics and stuff like that from new people that aren't that well known, this is perfect for that, where you can just double down and add even more research for them. So what I just want to quickly add as well is we want to edit the first H2 so that it's not the exact same as our competitors, right? So I think we could put maybe the best SEO speakers for 2024 or something like that, right? And then we just want to add another H2. So I want to quickly add, let's put a list of the best SEO speakers, or a list of the best SEO speakers, yeah. And then we'll put that H2 above the first one there. And then you could put another H2 maybe saying how we chose the best SEO, or how we chose these speakers. Perfect. Okay, so then we're basically ready to go, right? So the only thing with this prompting is that it does depend on the amount of research data that we've input into it. Because we've told it to reinforce our research data over its training data, sometimes it will mean that it completely reinforces it. So we can just click generate article. Now you see it also says GPT-4 and GPT-4o. GPT-4 right now generates the best content by far in terms of the OpenAI models. However, in about 3 days from now, hopefully if this video goes to live today, this will give you the option to have Claude 3.5 Sonnet or Claude 3 Opus as well. So you can go and test. And the great thing about Cuppa is that you can click Save Draft, and that you can open another tab. You can open the exact same article draft, and you can generate one version in GPT-4 and one version in Claude, and then you can just do comparisons against the two when they're ready to go, right? So that's kind of the future that we're looking at doing, is basically comparing the two and generating them at the exact same time using Claude and OpenAI. And obviously, because they're so cheap, you might as well do it, right? And just see which one comes out the best. And it generally specifically works better with certain niches as well. But for this example, we're going to stick with GPT-4 and we can generate the article. And because we use GPT-4, this will take a couple of minutes, right? GPT-4o, GPT-4 Turbo, you're talking 20 seconds, 30 seconds to generate the entire article. With GPT-4o, it might take 20 to 30 seconds to generate per piece of the article, right? Because bear in mind, with Cuppa, we're not just putting in one prompt into ChatGPT and spitting out a post. It's using sequencing. So basically, we are generating each part of the article at a separate stage, and that we're reinforcing it with adding on the previous part of the article so that it knows that it needs to generate based on what was previously created, rather than just creating based on sequencing. And there's various reasons on why you shouldn't put it all in one prompt, because of like context and things and stuff. And there's also various benefits of why it's to do sequencing and things around the actual output of the content. There's also benefits around the order of the sequencing that you're doing. So making sure that you do the introduction around the finishing up part. So you actually want to try and generate the introduction towards the end so that it does more of a summarization of the article rather than opening the article and having the introduction be a premise for the rest of the article. You want it kind of being opening towards the ending. So there we go, perfectly created the article for us. It didn't even take that long. It's about 873 words. And I have a feeling it might have done what I have a feeling it does. So if we scroll down a little bit, perfect. Actually, it's all good, I think. This is actually really ideal, I think, actually, for the article that we are trying to create. I don't think we even need to do any editing here. So I was going to say we might want to do some additional editing just to see where the AI, didn't put in some additional research or didn't put in some additional statistics and things like that. But actually, it's gone pretty damn well, pretty damn good for this specific article here.
Yeah, normally I would probably keep the introduction a bit shorter, or like just cut down some of the stuff, like ever changing industry, like some generic stuff. But the 80/20 of it is there for sure, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's good enough to go, right? And I think if we look at the current, this is the other thing, right? If we look at the current state of the SERP competitors, right? This article is better than the average SERP competitor, right? If you go and look at the SERP for this specific keyword, best SEO speakers, you'll see it's mostly just out the box AI generated content. That's also another thing, right? If you're generating content and most of your SERP competitors are also using AI content, it means that our referencing is a lot of AI content. So it does generally mean that it will create an output that is more AI-ish, right? Then it's more human. So if your references are more human, if your niches are more white hat, you'll get more white hat content than if your niches are more AI or more black hat, right? If you're trying to rank for like clickbank keywords and things, a lot of it's going to be AI generated, right? So it's going to just be AI generating on top of examples of already AI generated content. So that's the exact same thing that's kind of happening here. Regardless, I think this is a much better example of the article than we already had listed. And it gives you specific figures, dates, kind of examples. It sticks to the 2024 as we venture into 24 and 24. Let's spotlight some of the best SEO speakers who are set to influence this industry with their unique perspective and innovative strategies. And again, even all this stuff, it generally reads quite well, right? Even talking about Julian's carved a name for himself in the SEO area, respected for his innovative strategies and profound industry knowledge. Like that doesn't even necessarily read like AI normally reads, right? Like it's significantly better already, and this is just out the box with very, very simple presetting. Once you start doing, gigantic advanced presets and putting in all this additional prompting and configuring stuff and testing models and stuff, that's when you start really getting the crazy outputs, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, even stuff like where people have spoken at specifically, I know that's true. So it's not
Yeah,
hallucinating this
and
either.
that was like 2 months ago as well. That wasn't even like a crazy couple of years or something. This was referenced from a few months ago. So that's definitely because of Perplexity, right? Pulling in that additional information in kind of real time. However, like I said, if you can just additionally edit some of that Perplexity research, it makes it even better. So realistically, a lot of it as well is just about that researching and creating the brief and creating the preset to the kind of the most perfect you can get it to be.
Awesome. What's the next step then?
Yeah, so we can take this article and we can replace it with the current one, or we could use it on a new domain, depends on what you want to go with. I think the current article that we had already got out the box was like rank number 5. So I think if we did this specific article and copied it over, actually what we can do before we do that is if you click edit article, we could actually create a featured image for it. So if you go to the left, it's edit article on the left, top left. In the it will be so we can create images for it. So number one, you could actually improve this article, so you can get some additional things on it. So you'll notice on the right hand side it says 873 words and it's got a red dot by it. That red dot means we actually think that that's not enough content, right? So we would recommend that you would do more. So once that dot goes green, that's when you know it's about right? However, with this, what you can do is, like you just said, is you think the intro is too long, right? So let's select the intro. we can set the whole intro, so the whole 3 paragraphs, and we can
Yeah.
set that pink magic button in the top right corner, and that will allow you to summarize, complete, expand, change tone. We could do whatever we want. So we could summarize it, and it will kind of turn it into a shorter little section rather than making it this whole. There we go, perfect. So there you go. And it's already created a much smaller intro for you, so we've sorted that out. We could also then potentially add on, we could make that list a bit longer, so we could expand that. We could add some additional stuff onto there. It all would depend on how how you want to format the article. If you think this is good enough, if you want to increase it, expand it. And again, you don't need to expand it with your own writing. You can just use the pink magic button to expand, increase, change tone, do whatever you want with it. If we go to the right-hand sidebar and click on images, then we can create a featured image out the box. So what we can actually do is we can, so number one, we've already got our Midjourney image there from the last one, but and it looks very realistic. Number one, Midjourney, right? That's the other side of things. Midjourney is so much better, I believe, than DALL-E for a lot of niches and for kind of photorealism. So I think with this one, we can put the prompt in, maybe a featured image for the best SEO speakers on stage or something like that. And you can actually click Midjourney.
Okay.
Once you've put that text in, yeah. And we can generate that with Midjourney. And then once that is generating, we can go back and click DALL-E. Just click submit. And at the exact same time as Midjourney is generating, we can generate DALL-E. So we can generate both the images at the same time and see which one comes out best, right? From here, there's quite a few other options that we could be potentially doing. So we could add links, we could improve the we could improve the actual formatting of the article. Here's the DALL-E image back already. It's DALL-E's very, very fast at the moment as well. It's really quite quick. The text is absolutely amazing as well. However, the the Midjourney images, they will take some time, and it does depend on the time of day as well, right? Because it depends on how active Midjourney is being used, and sometimes it also depends on your prompting as well, because sometimes images can take even longer to generate depending on how long your prompt is. However, we could go and set featured image for the DALL-E image, or we could do whatever we want to on this. We could potentially rewrite the title as well, because I'm not a massive fan of that title.
Yeah.
So you can either edit it with whatever you want to do on there.
Yep. All right.
And then that allows you also, you can click the regenerate button. Don't click it now because it will regenerate it. But that button allows you to regenerate another title, which the AI will give you if you don't particularly like your own title and you don't want to edit your own one, right? Yeah. But yeah, so that, again, yeah, we can even fix the tone. So we could change it maybe to casual. Yeah. And again, the rewrite features normally are very quick. So they should only take a matter of seconds. There you go. Boom.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. They're super good at this whole SEO shit too. Sometimes it's pretty funny, to be honest.
Okay, cool.
So yeah.
Just one note on this, like for some people who are not sure how to edit it before publishing, if you do really want to tone up the content and just make it a lot more professional, you can use this free SEO checklist. Link is inside the comments and description for the free course. But in this example, we're just going to publish it just to show people what it looks like, right?
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. And again, a lot of the time when you're doing this editing, it makes sense to use a tool like Grammarly or something on top of it, so that you're also at the same time fixing like grammar, punctuation, all that kind of thing, and you're just doing those little additional kind of formatting things that Grammarly or one of those kind of tools give you those recommendations for as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can you do like if you wanted to, could you ask it to just generate more content there if you wanted?
So you can, if you do slash, it will give you some options.
Okay,
So
yeah.
you can, yeah. However, that's normally just to actually input stuff. But what we're wanting to do is to allow that to actually start inputting an option to generate content. So you would input slash input a paragraph, and it would either, do you want to create a new paragraph or AI generate a paragraph, right? And then you can put some additional prompting stuff. But we haven't got there quite yet. It's just there's actually a lot of features of the Power Editor that we're trying to build towards. You can again see the Midjourney image has kind of generated that, and I actually think the Midjourney image is better than the DALL-E image in this
100%.
specific instance.
Oh, it's 10
Yeah,
times better, isn't it? The mid journey
yeah, a
image.
lot, significantly better. So we could potentially use those Midjourney images, or we could generate some more. We could test around. The thing I like about DALL-E is it does the text, whereas Midjourney tends to either not do text, just it refuses to do it, or it comes out and it's just terrible, right? Whereas with DALL-E 3, if you do some of the prompting quite well, you can actually get it to output some of your text where it's perfectly got the text in the graphic. So from here, we could download. So you can just click the download button. And you can either download HTML, download Markdown, copy, do whatever you want. You can also share it. So you could share it to your WordPress or you could share it to your Blogger, depending on what you're wanting to do, right? But in this specific instance, if we go to, I think it is a LinkedIn or a LinkedIn post or a Medium article for this
Yep.
specific instance. Yep. So we can just basically replace that exact article that is there. And you'll notice that actually that article is quite a lot longer than the current article that we've just created, but actually I think our article is better. So it's better optimized, it's better for, well, there you go. So you can actually, if you go to download, you can click copy, click copy plain text, and it should copy it over for you. There you go, perfect.
And then would you just format it individually?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes you can copy and paste it just directly from the actual thing. So
Yeah, I
if
was
you go
thinking
to
that.
if you go close, sorry, no, if you go close on back to the edit article and then click close in the top left.
Right.
Yeah. Then there you go. You should be able to copy that text, and it should actually just put it into there for you. I think it's to the next one. Yeah.
There we
Perfect.
go.
There you go. Yeah. And then it's basically good. So we could, you also might want to save the image. So if you go back to the image, go back to there, and then just go right click. Yeah, you can just save that image.
And then just upload that.
Upload it. Yeah. And then the article again. That genuinely, if somebody just clicked on that article from LinkedIn and read that, that would look like you wrote that. Like looking at this top bit where it says, "Look at the best SEO speakers. Here are the list of the best." You know, and then it goes straight into them and kind of talks about them. Talks about SEO Estonia, references this and things like exactly like you said. And we could expand it. We could add an FAQ. We could add more images. We could do all sorts of things, and it would actually make this article, you know, literally the best piece on the internet for this. And we would have done it in a matter of minutes, right? It wouldn't have taken very long at all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I would say the 80/20 of it is here. I would say it was better than the previous article that was there. And then I think if you inserted some relevant videos, some relevant images, you added some FAQs like you mentioned, then it's going to be even better. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, you can do all of that on autopilot with Cuppa. I would just always recommend that if you want the best possible output, that you are doing some additional manual editing, that you are doing that human level oversight, and that a lot of the time, and I'm trying to reinforce with a lot of people, a lot of the time that human oversight isn't the output end, it's the input end, right? It's making sure you're doing the reiteration process, it's testing the prompting, it's making sure you're seeing what kind of outputs based on this model, or if you change this prompting using this model, if certain things changes, right? So making sure that you are putting in as much at the beginning and making sure you have as much research and data as possible will give you the best possible outcome, and it will mean that you have to spend a lot less time editing on the output as well.
Yeah, 100%. And then also, if you wanted to convert, then you can use something like this checklist right here, add some relevant internal and external links as well. Just fact check it quickly. It seems to be good actually. When I've looked through the content, it doesn't seem to have hallucinated in any way. But these are some things that you can do with the checklist just to add those finishing touches for quality.
Yeah, with regards to the hallucination and stuff, I try to use that prompting where it prioritizes our research data. And again, because we're using Perplexity is generally quite good at being fact checking. And like I just said, we want to also try and use our manual editing powers as much as we can. And you might actually have some knowledge and things that you can add in that Perplexity doesn't pull back, or that you might have already just sitting around, kind of lying around. Bear in mind that the knowledge inputs that you get 15,000 characters that you can input into the knowledge panels for Cuppa. So you get a massive amount of context that you actually be able to put there. And when you start editing the outline, you can put another 1,000 characters per header for research data as well. So you can put in a hell of a lot of research and get some seriously amazing kind of fact check stuff out. It's just very important when you're doing the prompting to tell it to prioritize the data that you're putting in over its own data. Otherwise, it will start kind of putting in these random hallucinations and stuff, right?
Yeah, 100%. By the way, we got a bunch of FAQs as well from social media posts. So we'll come on to those later in this masterclass, just to cover like some of the FAQs that we got from people on YouTube and Twitter and that sort of thing.
Yeah, we can answer some now if you want. We might as well just answer some
Yeah.
questions if you like.
All right. Perfect. So we'll start with Twitter then. There's the original post, and we've got some questions underneath. So, which niche has made you the most money so far?
Cool. Definitely finance, right? Financial niches are just ridiculous. Like there's CPAs and stuff are just so high that you can make too much money. And it's very difficult kind of pound for pound, and that's a bit of a pun as well, to make the same kind of ROI in a lot of other niches. Just because a lot it's in finance, people, sign up for apps and buy these things and kind of invest in stuff to degrees that you don't see basically in any other market, right?
Yeah, makes sense. And then Nicholas James says, "There's so much change in this industry. What are the absolute foundation basics?"
Yeah, so foundational basis obviously come to number one at the very, very beginning, just choosing the correct niche to go into, right? Having the ability to make sure that you know that your niche is profitable and having an advantage in your niche. A lot of people at the beginning, and I just did a webinar that was like 4 hours long on kind of exactly this. A lot of people, when they come into SEO, and I've done a lot of calls with people where they're like, hey, I just started doing this. I've set up a website in weight loss, or I've set up a website in crypto, or I've set up a website doing, health dieting pills or something like this, right? All of that stuff is very competitive with people who have already been doing SEO for 20 years and have got hundreds of thousands of dollars in capital to spend every single month on campaigns. And B, it's also niches that have generally been kind of targeted by Google or have been targeted by their SEO, so they're very spammy. And generally speaking, you want to try and find niches that you have advantages in, right? So you want to find niches that you either have some expertise, you have some knowledge, and you have some partnerships, you have some connections, you have just some base level advantage over competitors that are entering this market. The secondary thing is obviously just sticking to the foundations and not going off course. Make sure your links are good, make sure your content's good, make sure your on page is good, make sure your site's good, make sure your structure is good, make sure you've got everything together. Don't leave things off. Don't say, oh, when I'm ranking, I'm going to do this, because that then makes your quality score dip from day one, right? So just make sure that across the board, you're doing this holistic, solid approach, and you're doing it in a niche that is either growing or is at least profitable.
And then we got two more questions on Twitter. One of them was, what would you suggest to get started to have a cash flow quickly?
Parasite SEO, right? Just do free Parasite SEO pages. Literally, just start pumping out as many free Parasite pages as you can. We just showed you how you can create content for them in a matter of moments, right? Stick a CTA in there and put it towards whatever you're promoting and start pumping out as many pages as you can. It's a kind of shotgun approach, but eventually some of them will start ranking and generating you clicks. And the more pages that you have ranking, the more likely you are to make commissions every single day.
And then the second question is, how do you know what link building agency to trust? You're just going to
You
hire
can't
Julian
trust any
Goldie,
of
of
them.
course. I mean, for me personally, what I always look for when I'm hiring any agency is someone who's actually done it before and actually could build a business with the service that they're selling. Like, if I'm, for example, going to hire for Facebook ads, then I'll hire an agency that could actually grow their own agency with that particular service that they're selling, right? So I always look for people who've got loads of reviews, loads of case studies. If they're creating content and actively teaching about it or have their own communities as well. Anything else you'd say?
Yeah, ask them, right? Speak to the vendors. Say, hey, look, I'm in this niche. Have you got example links that you built in this niche? Have you got an example client that's maybe what related to me that I could speak to? Actually have a referral from them. Have you got any case studies that are similar to my niche or similar to my website or similar to my competition level, or maybe at least in my geo? Have you got some stuff in the UK that you've done before? Anything like that. Just asking them for examples, information. Number one, if they can't provide it to you, then that's a red flag in and of itself. And number two, if they try and just fight you on it, then they're generally hiding things. And number three, you can tend to generally get some information out of them. So you'll also be able to see what their level is at. And if they're just sending sales guys at you that don't care about SEO and they're just going to be putting pit bulls at you to try and, chew your leg off to buy some links, right? You want somebody who's going to be selling you links that are going to work. And a lot of the time I speak to agencies, right? I don't know why SEO agencies do this, because I think it's the worst approach that you can have, right? As a link agency or as an SEO agency, is trying to send a really aggressive link building sales guy that hasn't got any SEO experience and SEO knowledge, that goes way overboard on what the client actually needs. And what's preferred in link building, what's preferred in SEO, is if you can get a sales guy, you can get somebody who's helping the client or helping you build those links, and they're actually helping you. And across the course of 12 months or maybe even 36 months or something like that, you're continually buying with them every single month. But you're not just buying a gigantic package on day one. You're buying these small incremental build-ups towards what you actually need as a client, right? And that will show when you're speaking on the phone or on emails or something to these agencies.
Yeah, 100%. You got to watch out for those sales sharks. Next questions. So Candice asks, I'd love to hear about the best strategy for placing internal links and site menus to optimize indexing by search engines.
Yeah, so obviously about strategies placing internal links and sublinks. Yeah, so generally that's just site structure and things, right? In terms of internal links and stuff, if you put a link on a page and it's crawlable, Google will crawl it, and it will result in an additional crawling page. Generally speaking, we don't have any strategies to optimize indexing from that nature because we use sitemaps and indexing API and things to generally get stuff indexed. Internal linking and things like that are more optimized to get link equity and authority to flow between the website. Site menus are actually discounted. So if you have navigational markup in your menu, Google discounts every single link in your menus, your footer, your sidebar, all that kind of stuff. It's just not counted towards link equity and things like that. So they don't really matter anyway.
And MJS, what's the best free and paid AI writing tools? Are paid ones worth it? Will free tools with humanizing prompts not get penalized?
No, to be fair, I have ChatGPT content that's ranking, right, from like 2022, right, so like 2 years ago now. GPT 3.5 content, and it's still ranking straight out of the box from ChatGPT. However, is it good? If users click on it, would they convert if it was actually money paid and things like that? No, right? That's the reality of the situation. And a lot of the time, what you're losing in kind of optimization and formatting and things like that with these premium tools, you're not really making up anything with the free ones. So you're actually just net losing a lot of benefits from using these paid ones. However, generally speaking, if you don't have capital, if you are starting out and you're new and things like that, these free GPT, Claude, things like that are game changing, right? If I was starting SEO now and I had access to these tools, my career would look very, very different and it would be growing a hell of a lot quicker than what I started with back in the day with like Dreamweaver and, spinning content and things like that. It was a joke, right, in comparison to kind of the tools that we have access to today.
Which website builders or cloud sites do you use to keep costs down?
We just use WordPress, generally speaking, and Shopify, right? Everything else is client dependent. So occasionally, if we're working with consultancy clients that are on some random CMS that we've never heard of, and sometimes that does actually happen, right? And as a lot of the time that's geo-locale specific. So there'll just be some random, CMS because they're based in Australia or because they're based in this country, and it'll be kind of some local solution. However, that doesn't even happen that much anymore. So it's just generally going to be WordPress and Shopify. But we try not to keep costs down too much anyway, because we're trying to have, and again, the comment here from Luke H just below, we're trying to make the quality as best as possible from as early on as possible. So generally, we'll try to overinvest in the beginning of our websites, if anything.
What kind of prompt is actually proven to be indexing, ranking, got traffic, and sustained?
The one that I've just shared today, that exact prompt, right? There's dozens and dozens and dozens of examples of content that we've used with that exact style of prompting to get content ranked.
What's the best AI moneymaker in 2024?
Probably the free Parasite SEO page machine, right? Genuinely. The other side of making money with AI, I genuinely believe that if you can start now preparing for the next generation of models when it comes to video AI, and you can start testing your prompting, and you can start making sure that you're ahead of the curve when it comes to that video AI releasing, and when it's actually accessible and usable in a commercial sense when it comes to promoting affiliate offers and all sorts of things like that, even when it comes to promoting brands and channels and stuff like that on YouTube, that will be a game changer for a lot of digital marketers, and that will allow people to make ridiculous amounts of money, and you can do it through 20 different kinds of platforms as well.
Yeah, I actually did a Twitter thread, which you can check out here if you just search for it. And that talks about like multiple ways to make money with video proof, etc. So if anyone's looking for more ways to make money, you can check that out. Luke says, Charles, in the past, you've spoken about the first 100 days. It sounds like you like to have websites fully ready to go on day one. Would it be advantageous to publish several hundred articles per day using that style, or drip them over time?
We prefer to drip them, to be fair. We still like to have, a few articles going live on the same day. But generally speaking, we prefer to drip them just because it's a double-edged sword, right? So on the one hand, you get a lot of content indexed on day one. It's contributing to your semantic authority, all sorts of things like that. You become more of a topical authority straight away, etc., etc. However, what you don't get is you don't get the promotional aspect of things. So what we're doing generally is we are SOPing together for our VAs a SOP on promoting content when it goes live. So when they're publishing content, they're not just creating a piece of content and putting it live on a website and leaving it. They're then summarizing the article and putting a Medium article up and linking to it with a summarization of the AI, and doing the same thing with LinkedIn Pulse. They're also linking to it from our Reddit, that we create a subreddit for all of our websites and then create Reddit posts for them. They're then sharing it on all of our social media via a tool like Buffer or something. They don't obviously have to go and log into each social media platform. They can just go and share it from one specific thing. But the idea is that you're creating links, you're creating social signals, and you're creating clicks all on the same day as the content is going live, which is massively beneficial from a page that doesn't have any of those signals. And especially if you're dealing with any sort of competitiveness or any sort of competitive niche, that's when that kind of an aspect of that promotional style will really benefit you, because you're getting those additional clicks, those additional links, those additional signals that really turbo boost the growth of those pages. And also you'll actually, I can actually quickly show you guys an example of this. So
Just whilst you're doing that, I can share my screen. I would say, like, if you are publishing content, you still want to run it through like some checklists. You've talked about it, Charles, like how you optimize it before a post as well, and you can use a checklist like that. There's a free video on YouTube on how to do that, so you don't need to like bulk publish to get results. You can quality check, and one page ranking is better than 100 pages not ranking, right?
yeah, exactly, 100%. So I just sent you an example article. Basically, what I do with charlesflecktraining.com, which is my kind of training site, is every time a blog post gets uploaded, is I tell my team to again share it through Buffer, which distributes it to our Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, the whole kind of shebang. Um, and also summarize the article with a tool like ChatGPT or Claude, and then just convert that, take that summarized piece of content, put it onto Medium or LinkedIn posts, and then link to it through this specific thing. And you'll notice that actually, number one, that these, we don't put these posts through any indexing tools. We just let the social signals and these kind of backlinks index it. But number two, if you actually run this post through Ahrefs, this post was uploaded, I think, like a week ago or something. It's not even that old. Maybe it's like 4 days ago. And we're indexed and ranking, right? It's like position 20 or something like that, or position 40 or something. But it's indexed and ranking for some fairly big keywords. Like this is, the SEO space where you'd be dealing with competition like Moz and Ahrefs and things. And it seems to be a bit slow with Ahrefs today. However, it's loaded on my end and basically says we have about 20 odd keywords or so. 16 keywords there. But the aim is that you get these clicks and the signals and things, and it will allow you to rank significantly faster.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. All right. So we've just got a few more questions. How to get access? I'll send you access. And how to get more traffic using AI, which you've pretty much covered today, haven't you? That's what this is all about. Yeah. Awesome. Anything else you want to share before we go?
That's basically it. So I do have a kind of workflow that we could do in another video for the next one. However, that workflow is really, really long. I just shared it on my Twitter, and basically it takes you through building an SEO campaign from scratch automatically with AI from 0 to 100. So I'm talking building an entire 1,000-page website, including all the content, everything automatically without doing anything apart from coming up with the seed keyword, right? And it's pretty interesting kind of workflow, and I think that will be make for a pretty banging video on the kind of next iteration of these workflow tutorials.
Sounds good. Yeah, I appreciate you jumping on and showing everyone how to do this today. So that's really good. And also, if people want access to all the presets that we've talked about today, you can get it inside our free course, inside the free SEO course. So if you go to this free course, it's got over like 80 tutorials. But if you also go down to the SEO system section and then down to Cuppa AI SEO, you'll see inside there the video notes along with a tutorial video on how to do Cuppa. And that was like 90 minutes. It's like a 90-minute masterclass where you talk us through how to use it.
Yeah, it was an awesome video. I've got so many DMs from people from that saying, like, I didn't realize, number one, how advanced Cuppa had gotten, but also that I'd used it completely wrong. And I had some people actually apologize to me saying, I had said some things on Twitter and I'd said them wrong because I didn't use the tool properly and I didn't understand how to use it. So I think that was a really good video, and a lot of people got a lot out of it. So I'm hoping that a lot of people get a lot out of this one as well.
Yeah, 100%. Cheers for being on, man.
Cheers for having me, dude.
All right, thanks so much for watching. So if you want to get a free one-to-one SEO strategy session on how to get more leads, traffic, and sales with SEO, feel free to book that in. Links in the comments and description, and we'll show you how to rank with SEO to make more money for your website using the proven processes working for us. Cheers for watching. Bye-bye.